When people tell me they don't have time to write a book, I say that's too bad because I wrote 7 books that year with 3 little kids, and I wrote from 10 o'clock at night until midnight. And yes, I was exhausted. Yes, I was very exhausted. But I did it. And then what happened was my first check from Amazon was $1,200. And I thought, I've won the lottery. And to the world, you might only be one person, but to one person, you might be the world.
Oh, I
So
love
people
that.
are looking for you. People are looking for you, and they're looking for your book because your book describes who you are and what you stand for and how you help others.
Welcome to season 3 of Beyond the Business Plan, the podcast for burned out professionals and entrepreneurs who know there's more to life than just hitting the next revenue goal. I'm LeAnn Lyon, founder and chief joy officer of joyminder.com. I'm a private money broker and creator of the Sailing System, SAILING system, for designing a business and life you actually love. Each week this season, I'll be talking with guests and sharing stories about what happens after the business plan works. Money, real estate, legacy, faith, and whole person success. If you're ready to join the sales setters and chart your own course beyond burnout, hit that follow or subscribe so you catch every episode. When you feel called to something more, it can be incredibly frustrating to watch everyone else seem to move ahead while you're still stuck in burnout, overwhelm, or a job that no longer fits who you are. Today's guest believes that your story matters so much that it could become the very thing that opens new doors, attracts clients, and changes the trajectory of your life and business. She is a best-selling author who has written and co-written over 20 books, including her latest bestseller, Everybody Has a Book Except You. Oops. And for the last 15 years, she and her team have helped over 1,000 business professionals write and publish their books that grow their visibility, their speaking opportunities, and their revenue. So, how does someone go from who am I to write a book to using a book as a powerful platform to grow and go beyond? Let's find out. Suzanne, are you there?
Hi, I'm here. Nice to
Yes,
see
so good
you.
to see you. We have had the blessing of knowing each other for like 20 years. Just kidding. Just about a week.
It feels like it.
I know. But what a blessing. The minute I met with you, I'm like, yes, this is going to be a great interview. I'm so excited to have you here. So let's jump into it.
Sounds great. Thank you.
To start us off, take us back. When did you first realize that helping others write and publish their books was the path you were meant to be on? And what was happening in your own work life at that time?
Oh my gosh, how much time do we have, Leanne? Well, okay, so many years ago, in 2008, when the economy was really shifting, most people that are under 40 don't know what we went through. But anyways, I had a marketing agency, had a lot of really great clients, like some big names. I had Cirque du Soleil was one of my clients. I had some phone companies, and I had great business. But when the economy changed 2008 and then 2009, and then by 2010, my clients weren't spending any money on marketing. And so I was limping along financially, and I thought, what am I going to do? So that time, Amazon had just started letting people self-publish. So I thought, okay, I can write a book. And so my first book that I wrote it under a fake name because I didn't want anybody to know that it was me. I felt like such a failure. And you know what it's like when you're in business by yourself? I felt like I was the only one that was failing. I didn't realize all these other businesses were failing too, right? So now, you usually see the word pivot all the time, and that's really what I did. I had 3 little kids at the time. I wrote a book, put it on Amazon. When people tell me they don't have time to write a book, I say that's too bad because I wrote 7 books that year with 3 little kids that I wrote from 10 o'clock at night until midnight. And yes, I was exhausted. Yes, I was very exhausted. But I did it. And then what happened was my first check from Amazon was $1,200. And I thought, I've won the lottery. This is amazing. Now I'm going to do 10 more books and 10 more books, and I'm going to make thousands of dollars a month. But book sales are not the way to make money. And that's what I learned really quickly.
Aha.
I know I can get more into that, but I think it's very antiquated thinking to think I'm going to write a book and then I don't have to do anything else because I'm just going to sell 1,000 books a day. It doesn't work like that. Suddenly you have a new full-time job trying to sell books. So when the light bulb went off for me was when I realized that one of the books I wrote, it was called See Jane Grow: How to Establish Yourself as an Authority in Your Industry. Hardly anybody bought it. I thought it was my biggest failure. I'm like, what did I do wrong here? And I got really curious about it. But then I got a phone call from a nonprofit organization who said, "Hey, we know about this book that you wrote, and we want to hire you for some consulting for these women-owned businesses to work with women business owners." And I thought that was fantastic. And I think my contract with them was about 5 months long, and I got a few other contracts that year. Bottom line is those consulting and coaching contracts were way more money than all book sales combined.
Uh, Beautiful. And, back then, way back then, you weren't exactly using AI to help you with all of this, were you?
No, there's no AI. And we can talk about that if you like. No, there was no
Yeah.
AI. It had to come from here.
We may put a pin in that one for sure. But my
Yeah.
audience includes a lot of burned out professionals like you
Mm.
were who feel like they're watching their dreams from the sidelines. Was there a moment in your own journey where you thought, this isn't sustainable anymore? Something has to change. That ultimately nudged you towards entrepreneurship. You were already an entrepreneur, so
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think that feeling of this isn't sustainable, usually we put up with that for too long. And then you burn out, right? Or you get sick. Um, and I think for me, I have been like my first child was born in 2001, and I never went back to a regular job. So I have been an entrepreneur for 25 years,
Mhm.
and always worked from home. So for me, I have had periods and seasons in my career where I had to shift and I had to change things, thinking this isn't working. So yeah, and I think it's important to recognize as you get older, I recognize the signs now where I'm like, oh, I'm not happy, or this isn't working, or why am I tired all the time, and really having to have boundaries and change things if you need to.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I know you've written, as I mentioned earlier, and co-written over 20 books,
Mhm.
and your latest is Everybody Has a Book Except You. So I'm gonna ask you a question about that in just a moment. Meanwhile, I got to point out my coffee cup.
That's beautiful.
And I know that we both are coffee lovers, and
Yeah.
we have to drink. Business thrives on coffee, and so, but better coffee is better for you as well. So if you haven't checked it out already, people who listen to my show know I have a website called whyilovemycoffee.com. And this
I
is one
love
of the
it.
sponsors of the show as well. So if you love the show and we're giving you value, I hope that you'll check out a better coffee for your brain, a better coffee for your cells. I get a lot of compliments on not looking my age, and I give a lot of credit to the coffee. So go ahead and check out whyilovemycoffee.com. There's a little 1 minute video over there that I think you'll find interesting. And then you can browse the coffee shop and support our show. Thank you so much. So back to your book, though, the
Yes.
book that maybe I need to read. Everybody has a book except you. What personal frustration or pattern did you keep seeing in people that inspired you to write that particular book?
It's such a cheeky title, and I've every time someone like a podcast host or an interviewer mentions the title, I kind of feel like laughing because it's cheeky. But what I've told people for many, many years is your title of your book is very, very important. So don't like you need to name it something that's going to grab somebody. So with that title of that book, someone maybe who's thinking about writing a book will be attracted to it. People who already have 10 books or have no desire to write a book will be repelled by it. And that's fine because that's easy marketing that I've already done, you know? Um, and I think sometimes people have books titles such as, Rainbow Factory or something, and you're like, what? I don't even know what that is. A lot of people say, oh, I've always wanted to write a book, but I can't write a book. I'll never write a book. And I'm a true believer that your brain believes anything you think. So I say to them, yeah, you're right. You'll never write a book. If you tell yourself every day, I'll never write a book, your wish is granted. You're never going to write a book. So, and I think most people overcomplicate it. They think of it as such a massively huge thing to do. It's really not that difficult to write a book. It's actually so easy. So, in Everybody Has a Book Except You, I outline exactly what you need to do because my philosophy is, I only work with business professionals. So coaches, consultants, everything from dog trainers to chiropractors to mortgage brokers. I've worked with almost every industry you can think of, except I haven't worked with a funeral director yet. But I sometimes think, oh, I should help them with books to give to grieving families. But anyways, they always overcomplicate it. Everybody thinks I can't, I can't, I can't. And so when you break it down and you think, I teach people a program called the Expert Author Program. This book basically is what I teach in the Expert Author Program.
That's,
So, sorry?
I said, great.
Yeah, yeah. So you have to do the foundational pieces and then you write your outline and then you write your book.
Uh,
Most people don't know how to write an outline, which is perfectly normal because no one is born knowing how to write an outline. Like, that's okay. I don't do my own mechanic work on my car. I don't know how. I don't do my own dentistry. So I say to people, just let that go. Don't worry about it. Of course, you don't know how to write an outline. So I tell people everything that needs to go into the book. I tell them, your book's not about you. And then we go from there.
so do they even teach outline writing in school anymore, do you think? I'm just curious.
I don't know, but it's so funny because I have a degree in linguistics and I am a pretty good writer. Sometimes I read my own stuff and I go, oh, I can't even remember writing that, but it's good. Um,
You know
and
what?
when people
You're
ask
not
me
alone
about
with
like, pardon?
you're not alone with that. I have a fun story to share with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when I teach them how to write an outline, they are blown away. How did you come up with this? And I'm like, I think it was 10th grade.
Yeah. John Bevere, who's one of my favorite authors, John
Yeah.
Maxwell, John Bevere. But John Bevere actually was a horrible writer, absolutely
Oh.
terrible writer. But he
Mm.
kept feeling the Holy Spirit tell him, you need to write a book. And he's like, I
Mm.
got nothing. And so
Yeah.
finally, after a couple of kind of supernatural experiences, he wrote a contract. He's like, "Dear God, here's the deal. You have to write the book. I will put the pen
Yes,
to paper." And he still
totally.
says to this day, and he's written 20 or so books. He said
Yeah.
a good 30 to 40% of the book he has no memory of writing or thinking about at all. He
Yes.
reads it from his own book, which is fascinating.
Yes. 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 When I work with women and men of faith, I say to them, it's so much easier for you to write a book because all you have to do is go, okay, God, give me the divine download, and it comes through you. It doesn't come from you.
Right? So
Mhm.
I'm not one of those people who's actually said I can never write a book. When I was 6 years old, I told the librarian where she will put my book when I write it. Now, at that
Aw.
point, when I was six, it was going to be about dinosaurs. It's no longer going to be about dinosaurs that I'm
Yeah.
aware of, unless there's
Mhm.
some download I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suddenly, yeah.
I also think that there's a season for things. I know
Mhm.
now, today, given some things that I'm kind of coming out of, that I've been through some traumatic things. Hey, everybody has. I'm not special
Yeah.
that I've been through trauma, but I know that the book I would have written a year or two ago, or even months ago, is different than the one that I'm beginning to feel is coming now. And
Yes.
so, even knowing it, sometimes there's a season for it as well. Do you want to speak to that at all?
Yes, I always tell people timing is everything. Timing is everything. You can waste a lot of time writing the wrong book. You have to get really, really clear on what you want your book to do for you. If you are a person in business, and you come to me for the skill that I have, which is helping you write a book that's going to get you more clients in your business, it has to relate to your business. I want you to show the transformation that occurs as a result of working with you through the stories and the tips and strategies in your book. So a person reading your book goes, "Oh, I got to call LeAnn. I got to call LeAnn for sure." So I think one of the biggest mistakes is, I mean, you can just write one for joy and that's great, right? But if you want to write one and use it as a tool to grow your business, it has to be very strategic.
I love that. Well, for somebody listening who is exhausted by their current job, even if they are an entrepreneur and they're
Mhm.
secretly wondering if they have a book in them, I think your answer is going to be there is. But what
Yeah.
are some of the fears or beliefs you most often hear from them that keep them from getting started?
Almost everybody has imposter syndrome, and almost everybody has the little non-friend on their shoulder that says, "Who are you to write a book? No one's going to read it anyways. I mean, this is such a waste of time. And who do you think you are?" It's terrible, but we all have it. And when I'm coaching my clients in my group programs, half of what I do is counseling. Like half of what I do is saying, "You've got this. It's going to be okay." I say, "I will believe in you and you can borrow my belief until you start to believe in
Oh,
yourself."
I love that.
And I think it's human nature, and we're all like that. And I want to just love people and really, like I said, support them and believe in them. And it has to come from a place where it's like, but you need a good outline, okay? You need a good outline. You can't just sit down and write whatever comes to mind. First of all, I have to go back to what you said about someone saying he was not a good writer, because a lot of people say that to me too. "I'm not a good writer." And I go, "That's what editors are for." If you literally can communicate with people, like with your words. So some of us have been having strategy calls, if you're a coach, with clients, telling them, "This is my process, this is how I work." Well, that goes in your book. You can write a book. You can write a book about stories about clients that you've worked with and how you've helped them. And it's just so easy when it comes right down to, if you just take it one step at a time.
For sure. Well, part of my company, joyminder.com, we've developed what we call the sailing system, all about the process of going from I have an idea all the way to launching the business. And really, it's the story of not only my life, but the story of pretty much every entrepreneur's life.
Yeah,
And this,
great.
yeah, and this season of the show is all about the last letter of sailing, which is the G, the grow and go beyond, the impact, the freedom, the meaning, the generosity, the influence. And when
Yeah.
you look at your business today, what does growing and going beyond look like for you personally?
Hmm. Personally, well, I love to give back to my community. I always have. And I travel a lot too. When we first met, we talked about travel. I travel a lot. I'm actually on my way to Vietnam pretty soon. I've been to, I think, 25 or more countries. And I like to give back wherever I am. And a really amazing organization is Rotary. And I'm actually not a Rotary member, but sometimes I reach out to Rotary organizations and I say, "Hey, can I help you, dig the ditch or build the home, or what are you working on? What do you got going on?" They love having volunteers. So I actually
Sure.
have a dinner meeting in Ho Chi Minh City coming up literally next weekend. So in terms of what season I am at in my life right now, I also work from anywhere in the world. And a really young woman at the gym the other day, I was saying to her, "Hey, I belong to a gym that has branches, gyms all over the world." And I said, "Oh, I'm going to go to the gym when I'm in Ho Chi Minh City." And she's like, "Oh, I want your life." And I said, "I'm 57 years old. You can have it when you're 57 years old. You can't have it when you're 22." Like, well, I shouldn't say you can't have it, but you know what I'm saying. I'm like, you build your business in a way that you want and build your life in a way that you want. So, um, in terms of how I'm doing it, it's really about continuing to work, to supporting others and helping others and doing it from wherever I want.
Well, that's another fun thing that we discovered when we first met is that we both have some real estate tie as well. I have a real estate license. I'm a private money broker. And
Yeah.
so when you say, it doesn't happen overnight, but truly, investing into a rental, there's so much. When you invest into a rental, say you are 25, and if
Yeah.
you can gather, get, do whatever you need to do, Uber every night, get
Yeah.
the finance to start rentals. We know this. We have this perspective as the ages that we are,
Yeah.
that that rent or that mortgage payment when we first start it seems so high, but
Yeah.
5 years later, it's not as much. And 10
Yeah.
years later, it's not as much because
Mhm.
our incomes go up. And
Yes.
eventually, you can really build true wealth in not that many years, depending on how
Exactly.
fast you can grow. Real estate is a great way of doing that. So even a young woman like that, I've known superstar salespeople in their early 20s buy a house for cash and move
Yeah,
on.
that's great.
So, and that's for many people, that is their step. When they do get to our age and they do have a nest egg, but they don't want to put that nest egg maybe all in one place, real
Yeah.
estate becomes part of where they can grow and go beyond. Well, moving on, I know that you and your team have helped over 1,000 business professionals write and publish their books. So, can you
Hmm.
share a story of a client that really captures how a book can change somebody's business and open doors like speaking, visibility, the new revenue streams that you've kind of already talked about?
Yes. Oh, so many stories. I love the way you phrase that question because sometimes when people meet me, they say, "What's your best-selling book you've ever had? How many did you sell?" And I'm like, "Okay, we need to talk because that's not what it's about." So
Yeah.
I'll share a story with you. And one thing I want to say is that when I very first start working with someone, I say, "How is this book going to fit into your whole business? What do you want? Do you want speaking? Do you want an online course? Do you want to do workshops? Do you want to have a podcast?" Like the book is just one part of your business, but people get very emotionally attached to it. I'm like, let's detach from the emotion, think of it as a tool. How are we going to use it? So I had so many stories, but one that I love, and I'm not actually going to mention her name because I need to ask her one of these days. I always tell your story. Can I say your name? Um, she's an amazing woman who is living with a disability, and the first book she wrote, she explained how to renovate your home to be able to live with a disability. When people have an accident and they are suddenly living with a disability, have you ever thought about that before? She taught me
Oh,
so much. It's just amazing. So she wrote that book, and then she got certified to be an accessibility ambassador. And now her job is going to like federal buildings and corporate sort of office buildings and restaurants in her wheelchair to say, I can't get in or I can't use the bathroom, and you think this is great that you put grab bars up, but you didn't do a good job. She's built a whole entire business around this. She also put together an online course to show high school students that are doing the construction course the extra piece they don't learn in school, which is accessibility. And she licenses that course to high schools year after year after year. They have to pay again and again every year. So that's doing very well. And she's worked with big brands. She's worked with government for military personnel that are coming home from deployment that may have a disability. She's worked with them. She's just done so much. She's so amazing. And I have to say, she did the hard work. You cannot press an easy button on this stuff. You do one thing at a time, you do the work, and you will see the results. But it might take you 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. But if you're lucky and you live, then you're going to live that long anyways. So you might as well put in the work now. And like you said, it is actually just like real estate. It's compounding. The results are compounding. And so you can tell by my voice, I get so excited about this because it's not just a book. It's so much more than that.
if you weren't passionate about it, I'd question your whole strategy,
Right. Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
exactly.
gonna
Yeah.
give a shout out to a memory. I had a friend in college who was wheelchair bound. Muscular dystrophy is a horrific disease.
Oh, yeah.
If I had a secondary passion, my first passion for charitable work is working with people who are in sex work, or especially if they voluntarily into sex work, or better yet, preventing people
Yes.
from getting into voluntary sex work. My
Mhm.
second passion would be exactly what you're talking about because I I organized an awareness campaign where we did a little march around the city that I was in, And yep, my friend Mike was like, "So, let's
Yeah.
talk about the route that you created." And
Excellent. That's
wasn't,
good.
it wasn't
Yeah.
something that he could easily do. And he
Yeah.
wanted to support me, and he did, but often he had to go an entire block, around an entire
Oh,
block to catch up to
yeah.
us. And
Yeah.
it just really raised my awareness. And I have worked with people who
That's good.
do specific home remodeling things for people. When I broke my leg a little
Mhm.
while ago, and I live in a four-level split house, you think
Oh,
about
yeah.
these things, right?
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where's the
Even becoming a
bathroom?
mom and pushing a stroller for the
Oh,
first time, you're like, oh, I can't go on this sidewalk because there's no way of getting there, you know?
right.
It's just so difficult and so
It's so
challenging for people
important.
with disabilities.
So I love that story. Thank you for sharing that because it just brings up so many other layers. So I hope you get permission from her to say her name so we can promo her. But I'm sure if people
Yeah.
reach out, you could maybe point them to her book if they're interested.
Yes. Yes.
So
She's
I know a
amazing.
lot of my listeners worry that writing a book will take everything they've got. Now, you already
Mhm.
you said you did 7 books in 1 year with 3 babies, or not
Mhm.
babies, but young children, and that
Mhm.
takes all your energy too. And they're already tired, like you probably were. But from a
Yeah.
mindset and energy perspective, what helped you create and support so many books without burning out?
Mm. Well, self-care is really important. I remember when I was in the thick of it, when I was supporting my family with young kids, and I had an author come to me saying, I want to write a book about self-care. And I started laughing out loud. And I said, I'd never heard of the term self-care. This is many years ago. And I
Wow.
said, like caring about yourself? What? Like, I was like, what are you talking about? I was befuddled. But I think that's really important to not bite off more than you can chew. Just take it in baby steps. So one of my clients sent me a WhatsApp message this morning and she said, I'm checking in with you. I just want you to know I put in 15-minute time blocks on my calendar. That's all I can do for my book right now. 15 minutes. And I know, and I went, oh, that's a great idea. Because I know once you sit down and start writing for 15 minutes, if you're in the flow, you're going to keep going, right? So I'm like, that's perfect, you know? So you do what you can, and it's all about putting one foot in front of the other. If you are moving forward, you can course correct, but you can't if you just like don't think about it for 6 months. It's just like anything in life. So with my clients, I'm kind of like a mom sometimes too, so I know that life happens.
Yeah.
But I do want them to stay on their path, stay on the path. So use time blocking, put times on your calendar where you need to make yourself a priority, and it's really hard to do sometimes,
Yeah.
especially when you're a mom and a wife, or a partner, spouse, whatever. You don't for some of us for 20 years we've never put ourselves first. We've never thought about ourselves. So writing a book is very challenging because you have to say no to things. You have to your kid might say, "Oh, can I have a ride over to Jessica's house?" And you have to look at your calendar and say, "I'm sorry, I'm not available at that time." You can ride your bike, you can take a bus, or you can wait. So it's like, oh, you don't want to do that, right? You want to put your kids first and your spouse first. So I think that's one of the most important things to do.
Oh, 100%. In my weekly plan, and this is a relatively new practice for myself also, is putting in 3 breaks during the week, three that I
Yes.
look forward to. One of them
Yes.
happens to be at 8 o'clock on Monday morning. That sounds a little early for a break, but
Yeah.
it's a conversation that I have with somebody dear to me that fuels me. I look forward to
Oh,
it. It kicks
nice.
my week off well, but then also
Hmm.
putting in for me, I'm in martial arts,
Yeah.
scheduling that Thursday morning when I get permission to go back,
Yes.
that that I take a break and I go to the martial arts class. It takes about 90 minutes between
Yeah.
getting there, doing the workout and getting home.
Hmm.
I look forward to that time. And
Yes.
putting those
Yes.
things in, whether it's some exercise or just a great conversation with coffee, just saying, uh,
Yes. That's
these things
perfect.
really matter. And if you don't put those in your calendar, you will burn out. I'm so glad
Yeah.
that you have that with the self-care. That's great. And
Yeah.
yes, you're right about the 15 minutes.
Yeah, and one other thing I want to say is sometimes you need help. Sometimes you need an outside person. So when I was feeling like, oh, I forgot to work out for 20 years, I just never thought of it. I never in a million years would think of doing that for myself. I hired a personal trainer, and her rates are quite high. They deserve to be paid well. So I only went with her once a week, and then I would do the routine that she taught me the other 2 days of the week. And guess what? Now I go to the gym on my own and I love it. I look forward to it. I never thought I would be that kind of person, but I really, really love working out at the gym. And that's my time too. That's my self-care time.
Now, as I've recovered from breaking my leg, it's like that when I get the permission to start
Yes.
taking regular walks and getting
Yeah.
outside and getting the fresh air, it is an opportunity to also reset our thinking, and take care and make that a priority in our lives. And taking care of your body really should be for all of us. But
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
well, moving back, so when you think about a book as a tool, which you've mentioned, it's really a tool. It's not your be all end all. Yes, if you get to be a John Maxwell or a Tony Robbins and you sell millions of books, but that's still not where they're making their money. So you
Yep.
have a book as a tool to promote a brand or your business. So what are some of the most surprising or creative ways you've seen authors leverage their book beyond just having it on a shelf? Now, you gave a great example earlier with your unnamed author, but what other options have you seen?
Oh, so many. And I have a whole program called Beyond the Book that I help authors who wrote a book and then did nothing with it. So starts again with what do you want? What do you want? When I think about it's so funny. People say, oh, well, Tony Robbins has sold millions of books. Like, he is a public speaker, and people buy his books because they know him as a public speaker. He doesn't just sit around and do nothing and only sell books, right? So it's a very interesting misunderstanding that people have. Um, okay, so public speaking or paid speaking engagements are really, really important, and you need to have professional training, I believe, to be able to do that and get paid well, at least $5,000 per talk. So people can join Toastmasters and then learn how to put together a talk. And you know what the thing is? Whatever you want, you have to ask. You have to ask. Hi, can I be interviewed on your podcast, LeAnn? Hi, I see you have a conference coming up. I would love to speak at your conference. Sometimes people say no, but sometimes they say yes. And my clients are always amazed at the yeses that they get. And so I even have a spreadsheet that I use with my Beyond the Book members of KPIs, key performance indicators. And I say, how many sales did you get this week? Let's say, for example, they're a coach. Oh, I didn't get any sales this week. I say, how many offers did you make? How many strategy calls did you have? Like, let's keep track of stuff like that. So it goes way beyond the book. But just to sum up, what I'm trying to say is you could do an online course, you could put together a workshop. The workshop is something that I did at the very beginning. I charged $97 for a whole day workshop. I rented the meeting room at my church for like $25 on a Saturday or something, or maybe it was a Friday. I think it was a weekday. And 20 people signed up for that workshop. So I made $2,000 to stand doing what I love doing, encouraging them to write a book and teaching them the very, very basics. And they went, oh, you're so brilliant. I can't believe this. And I'm thinking, I'm not really telling you anything that fascinating. And the most amazing thing about that one workshop that I did for 6 hours that I charged $97 for. I use that exact same content to create my expert author program, which is a 6-month coaching program that I have now been teaching for 16 years, the exact same course. So build it once and just do it again and again and again. And I think another thing that I see with really entrepreneurial minded people is they're constantly jumping off the train tracks and going on another track and building tracks and building mountains to put the track up and just like making it so hard for themselves. Just pick one thing and give yourself 1 year. Stick to the one thing for 1 year. If you really doesn't work after 1 year, then you can try something else. But yeah, I find that there's so much you can do with the book, but you can't do 25 things at the same time.
That would be shiny object syndrome. Am I correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Yeah. But
That
it also stems from insecurity. You think, oh no, that's not going to work. You have an idea, if you're a person of faith, you can understand that the idea was given to you by God. And then what do you do with it? You go, nah, I don't think so. You get excited about it, and then you change your mind. And then you look for something else and you change your mind. You have to trust yourself and trust God that this is good. I'm going to work on this and I'm going to do the work and I'm going to make it happen.
That sounds so much like what I've been exploring personally lately is a trauma response, not trusting yourself, not
Yes.
believing in yourself because of things that have happened externally. And again, everybody has things happen to them. Some
Yeah.
are tragically worse than others.
Yeah.
I had an absolutely blessed life until I was 17, and
Mhm.
then
Oh,
so
yeah.
whole
Yeah.
bunches of things. But yeah, it's amazing. And again, our past can become our passion. Our past can inform things, and our
Yes.
mess can become our message, and all the things like that.
Yeah. And to the world, you might only be one person, but to one person, you might be the world.
Oh, I
So
love that
people are
phrase.
looking for you. People are looking for you and they're looking for your book because your book describes who you are and what you stand for and how you help others.
Mm. And just to show you, here's my Toastmaster pin.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's
So
great.
if you're listening on the podcast, I pulled it out of my desk. It's right here. I keep it in front of me. This is my past president pin. I even
That's
became
great.
president. Kicking and screaming, I became president of a Toastmaster group. But no, totally worthy. Really recommend Toastmasters. It's still around. It's in office buildings, it's in colleges, it's online now, which is amazing. Toastmasters truly, as I say, and then I think about the counter. Um, it truly is an amazing organization. So, if
And
it,
I do recommend getting out, not doing it online, getting out,
yes,
having a shower, putting on a nice business suit, and meeting with people and speaking in public in real life.
yeah, for sure. It's a great group. Well, if a burned out professional is listening right now thinking maybe a book is my bridge into
Mhm.
entrepreneurship, but I don't feel ready, what is one small, compassionate next step that you'd invite them to take this week?
I totally get that, and I respect if somebody's not ready because they're so busy. Man, I have people in my programs that are working on their MBA and moving and starting a new business and all different kinds of things. So I get it. One thing they could do is just sit quietly with a pen and a journal and think, if I did write a book, without filtering themselves. If I did write a book, what are some topics that I could write on? And write down 50 things at least. So, right, I mean, how to raise kids or how to travel on a budget, or I could write so many different books. And just let yourself fantasize and imagine, okay? And then, like I said earlier, for me, for what I do for my business, I think your book should relate to your business, but maybe not. Maybe you're going to write a book about with your grandma's jam recipes or something like that. That's a legacy for your family. You can do anything. And you, if you just decide, maybe depending on your family situation, when your kids are really young, you cannot just sit for with a cup of coffee at 7:30 in the morning by yourself undisturbed. But you could maybe have an arrangement where every Saturday morning from 9 until noon, you have your best friend takes your kids and you do your thing, and maybe you take all the kids in the afternoon and you carve out time for yourself
Oh, love it.
to work on it.
Oh, I love that so much. And a couple key points of what you just said. So, audience, listen. The key that she said is, what if I were to write a book? Give yourself the
Mhm.
permission to say, well, what if? You can even go
Mhm.
so far as to say, I'm not going to today, but what if I did this?
Mhm.
And then the other key thing she said, 50, at least 50. Do not stop at 5. Do not
Yeah.
stop at 15. Do not stop at 49.
Yes.
50 or more ideas. Just get them out. Just,
Yes.
and even if you have
Yes.
to start making ridiculous things, like I'm going to write a book about how to make jam, that's
Yeah.
fine. 50
Sure.
things have to come out because I've also heard people talking about like TED Talks. It doesn't
Yes.
matter what your TED Talk is about, and it doesn't even have to be related to your business. Now, again, great
Mhm.
strategy. to have it related to your business. But
Yes,
just the fact that you can say, I have a TED Talk or I am an author immediately raises credibility almost regardless of the subject. Am I right?
absolutely. Yes. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. And I hadn't even mentioned TED Talks, but another thing too is when you're writing that list of 50 things, don't censor yourself.
Mm,
Don't let your mind go, oh, couldn't be that, couldn't be that. Just be silly about it. No one's ever going to see the list.
yep. Yeah. And even if some things pop onto there that you're like, oh, I can't let anybody ever see that, write it down anyway, then scratch
Yes.
it off. If you have
Yes.
to, copy the list and burn the list if you have to, but you have to
Exactly.
do at least
Yeah.
50. It's
Yeah. And
absolutely
also
critical.
think about things that you feel you're good at. Maybe nobody even knows. Maybe you're good at rearranging furniture, and that could be really great for a home stager. Or maybe what do people come to you for advice for?
Yeah,
That's another
right
thing
there.
too.
That's a great one. Love
Yeah.
that. Absolutely. One thing I loved that you shared about when you're traveling, I love to travel too, is looking for ways to also pour into that community. I know I have brought suitcases of stuff to communities. And
Mhm.
one of my show guests earlier in February this year said that, like in Mexico, kids can't go to school without shoes.
Oh.
And flip-flops
Mm.
don't count. So they know
Mm.
people who will come to this well-known city in Mexico and they will bring a suitcase full of shoes.
Oh.
Plus, they have to pay
Yeah.
to go to school. So
Yes.
there's ways that you can help a community that you're visiting. Sometimes as Americans, we're like, oh, I'm going to go off to this fancy resort. Right
Mm.
outside the walls of the resort, there are
Mm.
often people that need help. Find out how you can help them. I love that. And
Yeah.
so
And you
as
can
we
ask the staff that work at those resorts too.
100%. But you can do
Yeah.
a little research. It's not hard to do a little research
Yes.
before you go there, even before. But
Mhm.
yes, we actually did ask our staff. We're like, so, what would be the best way we can do this? And maybe they just took it and used it for their own income. I don't
Mm.
care.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
trust, I
exactly.
trust God's going to put us in
Yeah.
front of the right person that
Yeah.
needs it. Weird random story that just popped into my head, but one time I literally lost a significant amount of money. Like it was stolen, essentially.
Oh,
And I prayed over that, not to get it back, but that it landed in the hands of somebody that really, truly needed it.
yeah.
And so if you can believe that even when things don't go maybe exactly how you'd hope they would, that
Hmm.
it's really the design of that it's supposed to go where it's supposed to go.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
as we wrap this up, looking ahead, how do you hope that your work, your books, and the authors you support, how do you hope that that will grow your impact and allow you to continue to go beyond in terms of freedom, generosity, and the legacy you want to leave? I know you talked about that already a little, but let's wrap it with something beautiful because I know you've got it in you.
Well, I feel like I don't care about my books selling or anything like that. I feel like my legacy is really the clients that I've had that now are changed since writing their books and putting together programs or talks and everything. I feel like that's my legacy, that they now are confident, they believe in themselves, they go out and do great things, and they're also impacting their people all around them. So it's this ripple effect that I see, and I love it so much when you consider that I've helped over 1,000 people now in all my programs. I haven't published 1,000 books, but I have helped 1,000 people write and publish books. And I've published hundreds of books. Think of all those books as like if putting a little pebble in a pond, and then they help people, and then people that they help other people. And I just think it's a really beautiful thing, and it's a privilege to be able to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being on the Beyond the Business Plan and sharing all of your personal stories and how you've really truly reached the grow and go beyond. I know that means that you're at the end of your journey. No, just kidding. Because there's
What?
always a cycle back, whether you're thinking
Yeah.
about launching something new, navigating storms, it never
Mhm.
ends. It's always, it just keeps going. And that's what I love
Mhm.
about this journey of entrepreneurship.
Hmm.
And thank you to our audience as well for joining us on Beyond the Business Plan to unleash your joyful business potential. It's only potential until you release it. So remember, entrepreneurship is a voyage you can take with others. So find your
Mm.
tribe for the journey and give us a like, subscribe, or whatever you do on your favorite podcast or video platforms to keep shining and aligning with your purpose and Joyminders solutions. And come back next week for another inspiring episode. And until then, I'm LeAnn Lyon, your Chief Joy Officer, signing off. Keep spreading the joy, keep leading with heart, and I'll catch you on the next wave of success. Thank you, Suzanne, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Hey, sales setters, are you ready to launch or refresh your business? Join us at the very next Beyond the Business Plan Summit for breakthrough strategies and inspiration. Visit joyminder.com/summit or check the link in the show notes for our incredible list of speakers and topics. And let's go beyond business plans together. Thanks for sailing with me on Beyond the Business Plan, the podcast. If this episode helped you as a sales setter, the best next step is to follow the show and share it with one friend who's ready to move beyond burnout into a more aligned way of doing business and life. If you want to go deeper, join me live at the next Beyond the Business Plan Summit online happening May 17th through 19th. You'll hear from experts on profit, real estate, legacy, and whole person planning, all through the lens of the sailing system, which you can download at joyminder.com. You can save your spot and get more details and download the sailing system at joyminder.com. Until next time, keep setting your course and adjusting your sails beyond the business plan.